everyone. Rachel here with Foresight, here with another episode of KARE-ing Conversations, but clearly this is not Jordan Evans of KARE, my normal co-host. I am joined by the wonderful, wonderful Laura Cambria of KARE. We are here at the Senior Living Executive Conference in New Orleans. How are you?
Woo! Thanks, Rachel.
High five, friend. High five.
Super excited to be here. New Orleans, baby. We're making it happen.
It's hot. It's heated here.
It's hot and humid.
Guys, but it's lovely. It's really, things haven't even kicked off yet, and I've had so many cool conversations, ran into so many friends. How's your experience been so far landing in New Orleans?
It's been great. I got in yesterday. Have already seen a whole bunch of people. Everybody's kind of hanging out, doing their thing, enjoying New Orleans, getting the vibe going, and we're just about to kick off with the Argentum, the whole conference this afternoon, so looking forward to seeing everybody else too.
And I think this is the best part, sort of when things haven't officially come together, because then you can sit down and actually have these meaningful connections, which yes, it's great that you can network. Obviously not going to take no shade on that, but it's nice when you can actually have these one-on-ones.
Oh, for sure. That's the best part is, getting back together in person and having some conversations with as many people as possible. That's what it's all about.
It's the best. And Laura, obviously, like I said, you are not Jordan Evans. We know that Jordan is with Hero Development here at KARE. Tell me a little bit about your role with KARE and what you do, and fill me in on all of that, please.
All right. Yeah, so I am the Senior Vice President of Operations with KARE, so I really oversee.
What a title. I'm sorry. Let's just one more time, say it louder for the people in the back.
The Senior Vice President of Operations with KARE, so super exciting. Really working hand in hand with Charles and Bridget, and really trying to make sure that we're doing the best we can so that we can keep rocking and rolling and taking care of our seniors, taking care of our caregivers, and do the good work that we're meant to be doing.
I love that, and obviously two of my other favorites, well, not Charles, but Bridget, clearly.
She said it, I didn't.
Oh, Charles, come on, I love you. So, well, tell me what this means, though. What does this entail? Kind of what's your day-to-day look like? I know you said you were just actually in New Orleans visiting with communities. I love that sort of boots-on-the-ground situation. Yep. I love how involved you are. So, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, our whole team is really involved in boots on the ground. One of my favorite things to do is get out there and talk with our customers, meet our caregivers firsthand, meet our customers, really kind of finding out what are the pain points. Listening to all of that information really helps us grow as a company, right? We are here to be a solution. So I love being boots on the ground. I came into New Orleans a couple weeks ago, and Cheryl and Sydney and I got out there, met a whole bunch of different operators. We met a bunch of heroes. Then on the daily, I'm really chatting with our entire team. I'm cross-functionally seeing what's going on across the company, really making sure we're working efficiently and really growing our hero pool so that we have more caregivers available, and then in turn continue to take care of our seniors.
I love it. What is efficiency? Break that down for me. What does that look like?
So, when we've grown so much over the past.
Everyone knows the orange. You guys are everywhere.
That's right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we're orange. We're out there. We're proud. And proud to be wearing our orange.
Yes.
I got my orange shoes.
I know.
Yep.
I already said that her sneakers are cooler than mine. I'm very disappointed, folks.
That's all right. We'll get you some orange kicks, Rachel.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just, the overall efficiency of how we run as a business. As you continue to grow, you really have to make sure all of that is in line so that we can do the daily operations that we need to. So the company has expanded. We have a lot more people on board helping us to do what we do best. So I have a lot of those conversations on the daily about how we're running our daily operations. What does it look like from growing and gaining more heroes, and the communities that are out there, and overseeing all of those operational efficiency pieces.
Very cool. I love that. And a quick shout out to Leanne Hubbard at Foresight, because she sounds like she's super organized, so detail oriented. And me as a creative, I'm always thinking big picture.
Yep.
And what's so pivotal about people like you and Leanne, it's you rein us in, and that efficiency is so key to, like you said, making sure that things run smoothly so that your customers on both sides, the community that's using it and the heroes are right. Happy. And I'd be curious, just a couple things, 1, 2, 3 things here that you've heard from both your heroes or operators, or a little mix of both. What's the feedback you guys are getting? What are you hearing?
That we're a solution. We're finally a solution to this has been a problem. Staffing has been a problem in senior living for years. It was obviously exponentially accelerated by the pandemic. Everybody is well aware of that. But this has been an issue for years. So now we are really a solution. You know, I sat with an operator the other day, and I was with the director of nursing, and she was crying because of the amount of hours that she needs to work. She's moved into this management position, but she is having the most difficult time managing because she doesn't have the frontline staff. So I sat with that operator and I said, let's give you that opportunity. Let's be the solution and give you the frontline workers that you need so that your director of nursing can do the management that she is meant to do and doesn't get pulled back into that. So, you know, hearing that and being part of that solution is such an amazing thing to be a part of. We have to continue to think outside the box and really figure out what we can do better. And that's, you know, that's something that we're doing with CARE. So that piece is so important. And then the centralized recruiting is what I really, you know, I'm really talking about accelerating that right now. We can be that piece for somebody. So it doesn't have to be that we are a temporary piece to helping you staff, but use us as centralized recruitment.
Absolutely. I love that you brought up the recruiting piece. And what do you think that looks like? Because again, it's like where's the market? Where should you direct your attention? I mean, like you said, it's a staffing crisis. So where do you go to like target that? And then how does CARE play a role in that?
Yeah,
I'd be curious
sure.
to hear.
You know, turnover is always going to be an issue. We really want to decrease that as much as we can, but we know we're going to have to continue to rehire. Operators, that's just a normal part of any business across the country. That's not just in senior living. So we can be that centralized recruitment tool, right? You have either a resignation or you have an opening that you need to fill. You go onto the app and you post what you need. You have somebody come on in. And if it's a good fit, if it's mutually beneficial between that caregiver, that hero, and between the community, offer them a position. Have them come on full time. There is no charge for that. There is no buyout on that. It's centralized recruitment. We've got all of the background information for you. You just bring somebody in. If it's a good experience, go ahead and offer a position.
I love that. And I feel like, yeah, obviously that's the first step. And then what about keeping them and retention? What do you think are some keys to sort of that great work environment, like, and making sure that you keep your staff?
So I'm all about every day is an experience, right?
Yeah.
Every day is an experience. If it's mutually beneficial and every day is a good experience, which we know things are tough in senior living. Not every day can have, you know, it's got its highs and its lows.
It's such a tough job.
It's an absolutely
100%.
Difficult job.
100%.
But if it's that mutually beneficial experience between the caregivers and between the community, every day, if you make that an experience where you're asking your frontline workers, you know, what's the best part of your day? What was the most difficult part of your day? Ask those questions. It sparks conversation, and that makes for a good working environment. So if you can make an experience and kind of, you know, we talk about culture. What is culture? I really think culture is made through a series of experiences. So every day, have a good experience, make it a positive experience, and that's how you're really going to keep people around.
100%, and you're so making me think of, as much grief as I like to give him, Charles made that beautiful point actually in our kickoff episode of KARE-ing Conversations, which was, hey, like, no shade, but like, culture is not pizza parties.
Right.
And it is just like, to me, been the through line of each conversation. We continue to build upon that.
Yep.
And really, I love how you guys as a team drill down on what does culture look like.
Right.
I think that's so important. And, you know, yes, we can talk about money and more pay all day, and that's not saying that our Careforce is not obviously deserving of that.
Right.
But I think also, and I'd be curious, I'm sure you guys have feedback, that if they were getting a better experience or different offerings,
Right.
that also could mean more and would mean more than the monetary compensation.
That's right. And the only way we know that is if we ask the questions. We have to be talking to our frontline Careforce and finding out what are their needs. And we know that because we ask. We do surveys, right? We have these conversations. So number one is flexibility. Number two is when you see the pay come in. But number one is flexibility, and we have to figure out how to adapt to that.
Absolutely, and I know you guys have great resources on this too. I know you guys haven't published everything, but I know you guys have published some reports on this,
Yes.
specifically those top things, talking about flexibility, offering health insurance, but maybe like at a lesser like pay rate,
Right.
but more of your medical expenses are taken care of.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing I want to point out before we move on is the fact that you guys listen. And I think that's one of the huge kind of puzzle pieces missing in
Right.
solution providers, you know? And it's the guys, don't hate me, please come talk to me when you still see me, but we gotta start listening. And actually, like you said, you said it so beautifully, talking about the pain points.
Yeah.
100%. And I think once you sort of let that settle in, then I think whoever you're talking to can really see what solution that you provide.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
people want to be heard, right? Everybody's voice matters. And sometimes that's the biggest piece, is just having that outlet and being able to have the voice be heard sometimes is even enough. I mean, we can't fix everything, right? Everybody. I wish we could, but hey, at least we've got a great solution here. And if we can kind of get everybody on board with having these great conversations on the day in and the day out, it can go a long way.
100%. And I want to talk just briefly, how do you see care playing that role of the solution?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Because there's a lot of misconceptions that people have about care, that the industry has about care, and some of them are obvious. It's just hilarious, like it's too good to be true. Well, no, it's not, but I'd love to hear, like, break this down for me and give me like 3 reasons how you provide the solution. 'Cause I
Sure.
think that's beautiful.
Sure. Well, you know, I think everybody knows our slogan that staffing agencies suck, and staffing agencies still suck now in 2023. We've got our big sign here at Argentum that's, you know, just stating the facts.
Yes.
And you know, I love what Charles says. Charles says he took everything about a staffing agency that sucks and did the direct opposite. So we easily can provide, we're a virtual marketplace, right? We're the connection between the caregivers and the communities. It's as simple as that. And you fill what you need, right? So you have an opening, you post for that, then the hero is applying for the shift. So you're choosing who comes into the community. So the operator has that responsibility in their hands. They get to make the choice, they get to set the pay rate, and then again, if it's a mutually beneficial experience, they then can hire that caregiver for free.
I love that.
Yep.
And I think that's another thing that goes along with the misconceptions that we've talked about, that there has to be some kind of buyout, or that there's this
Right.
whole ordeal, and it's nothing like that.
No, centralized recruitment, it's right there at your fingertips. Have a good experience and hire on. No cost.
Beautiful. And then one of the things I've been curious about having all these conversations, just lastly on the technical side, is this the app only used for heroes, or is there something that, like, what's that look like on the community side?
Yeah,
using
sure.
Care?
So there's a community app and then there's a hero app. So the community on the fly, either from their phone, their laptop, their desktop, whatever's the most convenient for them, can go right onto the app and then go ahead and post whatever their need is.
Okay, perfect. I love that, because I've got to talk to so many of your amazing heroes. I was at an event in Denver at Leading Age, and I know how much
Yes.
they love the app, how easy it is for them. So it's really cool to hear you talk about it on the community side, because I feel like that's not a conversation I've been able to kind of dive in with your team members. So I appreciate that. That's cool. So I wanna pivot a little bit to something that's been on my mind, and I'm hoping we can dive into, which is women in the workplace.
Okay.
Because I'm so curious about this topic, and I want to talk about it because I want to talk about career pathing.
Sure.
Because this is something, Foresight founder Steve Moran had this cool conversation with Patrick, I want to say it's like from Christian Ministries at Slift, and he was talking about, hey, like, there's not enough career pathing for younger people in senior living.
Uh-huh.
I would love to kind of hear your thoughts on that and kind of hear a little bit about your trajectory. I mean, that title is like nothing to scoff at. That's a huge deal, and I feel like we don't talk about these things enough.
Sure. It is true. You know, I think people don't know what the opportunities can be. And I think a lot of that, we hold our own future, right? And how we get there. But you've got to be hungry for it, and you really have to be, you've got to ask the questions. You've got to meet as many people as possible. And I think that that's kind of how we learn how we can grow. So my career opportunity has been very interesting. I've been in senior living for 15 years. I'm a physical therapist by trade. So I started primarily in neurological rehab, dementia, traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injury.
Oh, wow.
And then very soon after, I was there for about 5 or 6 years, then transitioned into more dementia care. And that's where I specialized. So I was in many, many senior living communities doing that work firsthand. So firsthand with the caregivers, firsthand in the community with the operators, and then of course taking care of residents day in and day out.
Absolutely.
Making sure that they're successful, quality of life while living in their home. I then transitioned to the operations side of therapy. So I was hungry for that, for what is behind the scenes, how Medicare works, how it affects our residents day in and day out, and how that affects the operators. So I really did, I did research. I just kept asking the questions, and I did get into operations. But it was small steps, right? I went from a physical therapist to a rehab director, to an area rehab manager, to a multi-site manager, and then VP of operations for a large therapy company, which was a fantastic experience. And that's where I learned really the operational insight, the financials, the margins, everything that goes into those pieces.
So this didn't happen overnight.
This is 15 years in the making.
I'm already disheartened. I thought this was a very quick, linear process.
It is not. It takes time, but that's how you learn, right?
Yeah.
I think people do. It's like it's like working out and losing weight. Everybody wants the quick fix, right? You want to lose 10 pounds by tomorrow. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and it's growth, and it's learning over a series of time.
I agree, and I think one of the things that I think in my short amount of time doing like media in this industry that, fortunately has made me so successful is that I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what you hit on that so resonates with me because I love it. It's like people aren't curious.
That's
and
right.
it goes back to like what we were talking about, like listening, like
That's
wanting
right.
to learn more. And I certainly think that's one piece of the puzzle. And I think another sort of hot topic is like also mentorship and
Yes.
how to find those opportunities. And I'm curious, along the way, were there some people that kind of guided you, kind of helped you along the way?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's really important. You have to seek that out too. It necessarily doesn't always come to us. We have to, that's about asking the questions, right? I definitely had people that I idolized and that I wanted to reach out to, and I did. I sparked that conversation. I kind of led that and wanted to learn from people. I think we're doing better in the industry too. We've got women in leadership now. It's fantastic. We have women who are in these phenomenal positions that have so much knowledge to share, and now they're sharing this information. And I just hopped on one where I was watching Lisa Rogers. She just did a phenomenal presentation, and it was packed. It was virtual, but it was packed. All of these women in senior living listening in to learn and gather as much information as possible. But you've got to reach out to those people too. I mean, everybody's willing. Everybody wants to have the conversations. They just don't know who necessarily needs it. So reach out for that mentorship,
I love that advice, and it's so true what you said. It really is a community, and I feel so grateful to have been welcomed into it and to be able to have conversations like this with you. And I mean, you've been in the industry so long, and I just think that's so special that you will take time out for someone like me that's so new. And I think that's like where you find the balance, though, and how you create new opportunities in senior living.
Well, it's totally mutual. I feel the same exact way about you, Rachel.
Well, thank you. No, I do. I appreciate that, because I think also what's interesting about you, Laura, is your background and how it's sort of shifted over time, but it's also it's sort of an outside of the box career path to what you're doing.
Yes.
Now, to an extent, to a
Yes.
very small degree. Obviously, super qualified for what you're doing, and I love that. But I think that's something else that I'm taking away from this is also that outside of the box thinking when you are hiring or recruiting, whether it's for your
Right.
Careforce, like with Care, or any position in senior living.
Sure.
Yeah, like really thinking outside of the box. Like, I've done freelance work. This is my first time diving into senior living in the past 2 years,
Right.
besides the connection of my mom being a nurse in a
Right.
community. So I think it's so important to really look at someone's skill set that may not particularly sort of gel with what you were thinking you were looking for.
Oh, totally. It's adaptability, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about adaptability, and again, seeking the opportunities out. You don't know what's out there, and if you don't go for it, then you don't know. So I think, never be afraid too. One of the things that I always tell younger people in the field too, don't be afraid to go for that next level. You might not be ready for it, but if you're interviewing and you're putting yourself out there, you're going to continue to learn, and that's how you're going to continue to get there. So don't cut yourself short.
I love that, because I think imposter syndrome is
Oh yeah, it's a
so
real thing.
real, right?
Oh, it's an absolute real thing.
And it almost creates that invisible barrier to wanting to move forward and upward mobility in your career.
Yes.
If that's something that you're looking for. So as we kind of wrap up on time here, I would love to hear, what do you think are some of the next big opportunities in senior living? High level, where do you see the industry going? Where are some gaps that could be kind of filled in the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, right? And it's always on the topic of everybody's conversations in senior living. Where is the industry going? And you know, one of the things I keep talking about is we have to consistently adapt. We have to. We can't think of things as short-term solutions. We've got to adapt, and we have to use technology. That's going to be a big thing for us moving forward. We've always been slower to adapt in senior living. I think everybody's pretty aware of that. But we gotta get there. There are so many resources. So again, open-minded, being open to the resources, ask the questions about the resources. Here at Argentum, we've got hundreds of vendors that are out there with solutions. Ask the questions. See what your communities need, and continue to consistently adapt, because we're going to need to, and you got to be open-minded to it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's evolve, or like you're not in existence.
Right.
And I think
Right.
that's like what a big kind of fear is.
Yes.
So it's like you have to learn to adapt to move forward. It doesn't mean the industry's not going. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
But it means there need to be pivots to make it stronger and create a better foundation than I think what it maybe currently has. It can certainly
That's
be
right.
better. Awesome. I have absolutely loved this conversation. I so appreciate your time here in very heated New Orleans. I'm glad we've got AC in the convention center, y'all. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. There are some gems here. Connect with Laura on LinkedIn. Obviously, do you care? All socials. Anything else you want to add?
I appreciate the time, Rachel. I'm looking forward to Argentum. Let's have some continued great conversations, and let's have some fun.
Absolutely. This is my favorite part about being here, guys. And guys, Rachel, Laura, signing off from New Orleans.